Hello, welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and today we're going to have some fun. I am recording this right before I go to Code Mash, and when I was prepping some of my slides and updating them, I'm doing two talks that I haven't done in a little while. One on metaprogramming in .NET and one on esoteric programming languages. And there is an example I have in the esoteric one on a language that I still have bits from a long time ago, but I wanted to see if they're updated. And it's a language that's kind of funny, kind of interesting. It's called LOL code. So if you can see down here, it's got that kind of LOL cat type of thing on that you see on the internet, or it was for a while. And somebody actually created a language that was based on all this stuff. In fact, here's, oh, did I shut that down? I bet I shut that down, didn't I? Here's the test. Okay, so this is basically code that does something here's a number between 1 and 100, pick a number, and you're basically declaring a variable num, which is 53, and then you go in a loop, lesser, yeah, really, otherwise no way, or maybe, it's kind of got this silly syntax to it. But what's interesting is that somebody created a parser for this and did it in .NET and has debugging support. So I do this in talks and show this to people, and just show that, hey, you can have some fun with this stuff. And so I still have the code on my machine, but I was wondering, is this still somewhere? I mean, does somebody still maintain this or not? And I looked, and the only place I could find it was in Google Code Archive, because that's basically like Codeplex. It's was a thing, not a thing anymore. And so I found the code there, and then downloaded it. It's still built. You have to update your projects and stuff, but it's still built. There's a couple things I had to change, and then it all ran, and I was like, yay. And then I said to myself, well, I don't want this to die. I mean, if it's going to be out here, it'll probably be out here for a while, but there's no life to it. And it's not that I necessarily want to own it either or do updates to it, but it's just kind of been a fun thing that I've always enjoyed, looking at what people are doing. And I found the person that actually does it is this guy named Nick Johnson, this guy right here. And so you can see the tweet chain, so to speak, that went through last night. And I asked him, hey, could I put this up on GitHub? And he's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. So that's what I'm going to do in this episode, is get this up on GitHub, maybe put some issues to it, because again, I don't necessarily want to, because the language actually has a spec. It's actually one of the few esoteric programming languages out there that actually has a decent spec, and there's a C implementation out there, among others, that you can look at. But I don't know if I want to update this. I do eventually want to update it, so it's going to use .NET Core 3, because that should be .NET Standard 2.1. And as I talked about in a previous episode, that's where System Reflection Emit will be really back in .NET Core. So that's what this uses. And so I'm going to stick to .NET Framework 4.7.2 for now. But I wanted to eventually get up to .NET Core, and then I can use it in a whole bunch of different other places. And actually make the parsing stuff probably a .NET Standard library, and then have all sorts of fun with it. But be that as it may, I want to get the code up in GitHub. That's the goal for today. And then maybe chart some things that I want to do. So we're going to take the code, make sure that it can compile. It can actually compile LOL code and run it. And that I can actually run in the debugger. And when I'm there, then I'm going to clean up just enough in the zip file and all the codes there, because it used to be in Subversion, so I need to get rid of a bunch of .svn files and folders and stuff like that. And then we'll bring it up with what it is right now. Then I'll add things like git and org files and stuff like that. Okay, so first things first, I got this in my directory here. So we're going to do this. I'm going to say 2017 and open, and then you'll say LOL code solution. And I will definitely give credit where credit is due for this guy. Yep, one-way upgrade, and when I did this last night, it worked, and it gives you some warnings here, but it worked enough, which was good enough for me. So I'm going to keep that up there for now. And then I think the thing that also doesn't work is that I believe this was using like hard-coded references to things for NUnit, which was nice to find that it actually uses NUnit. So nice to browse NUnit, which was already there. And you see some errors here. These are all going to go away, and all the messages here and everything else, all this is eventually going to go away. Then, yeah, there was core here. Don't need that. I really do not want to change a lot of code now. I will I want to get rid of this. I don't want to do much of anything other than just get enough to compile and run. Okay. This is something though that I'm going to have to change. I remember this from last night, is that I got to actually say assert that, and then we got to bring this in here, and then throws type of, whoops, invalid cast exception, and I think you can put in, no, you can't. Is there anything in a with? I wonder, I'm curious. I don't want to, well, let's just see. Let's explore. NUnit throws constraint message. I wonder if there's a way to say there might be to say it has a particular message in it. But this is the exception asserts, I want to say. Stream model throws constraint. Throws type of examples. Can I just say with message and then whoops. It looks like that's a property, so I don't think that's actually going to work. But I would like to preserve. No, it doesn't seem like that's going to work. Kind of surprised that this doesn't actually give you oh, you can do with property. Okay. So I could say with property name of exception.message. I thought but yeah, I was almost positive with property equal to that. And then we can pull this. Okay, now it went away. Okay, good. This is actually what I wanted. All right, format. It might be doing my tabs, and it is. I really don't want to. Well, it's going to do what I want to do anyway. He used to use spaces, so sorry. So some formatting is going to happen. And in fact, I want to preserve this because I think. Yeah, we want to say this is to, I'm going to pull that in, take that off, put this in, and a valcast, except we're going to do this. Okay, and then we're going to take that off, preserve that. This is also 2int, yep. Except it's going to say cannot cast type GUID. GUID to int. Okay. And do I have any more? Nope, that's it. Okay, so now it should build. Okay, now I don't know if it actually runs tests. If I actually try to put the, I remember this from last night as I was playing with this. It notices you have tests here, but it doesn't have the right test runner, which is actually, hold on, this is kind of interesting. 17, wow. That's it. Ooh, this is gonna, there's gonna need to be a lot more tests for something like this. So that'll be fun. But again, the first commit of this, I want it to be just the way he did it, to start as much as possible. And then I'll just start updating it and changing it as time goes on. But you know, for now, it's just the minimum possible. Again, the thing that I think is happening here is when I say run the tests, if I say like RA, what I should see from discover tests, yeah, so it doesn't have the adapter, but then if I put the adapter like this into that project, it will say it's too late of a version, and then I'd have to go like to an earlier version of this one, I think. And it's not that concerning to me right now that the test passed. It will be later on, but not right now. So I think this is also something that I find kind of weird, is that this is the parsing code. I got confused on this last night. Is it like I don't understand why there is this LOLC and this. Does that reference? Yeah, that references that. And I'm not sure, this again might be something that I clean up a lot. I don't know why this standard LOL thing exists. I mean, it looks like there's definitely some helper functions, but nerfing? That's funny. Okay. Well, there you go. So I think that stuff this will actually get pulled into LOL code net. And I think I might actually name that just like LOL code.compiler, and then that one will be the actual thing. Actually, that's one thing I noticed that with my Iron Befunge compiler, because I was updating a little bit of that stuff last night, is I should name the DLL or the assembly Iron Befunge interpreter, but I have an interpreter type in it, so that would mess it up a little bit. But then have the actual exe be just Iron Befunge. I have it Iron Befunge, and then that's called the host. So, but never mind. Again, things to think about. We'll get to that list in a moment. Okay, so this is the thing that I want to actually build. And if I remember right, by the way, that BF, that has a naughty word in there that I'm going to not say, but there's a language called Brain Frick. Trust me, in normal conversation, I have absolutely no problem saying that word, but I'm trying to keep this channel a little bit on the PG side. I think if you're doing PG-13, you're allowed one F-bomb, like in a movie or something like that. It's like one or two. But anyway, that actually is a legitimate BF compiler. What we're going to do is test. That's the actual code, if I remember right. Yeah, that's the one that does the 1 through 100 guess. So we're going to come here, and we're going to open this here, and then we're going to say bin. I think it's defaulting to debug, if I remember right. Yep. Okay, so then we're going to go. I have to start getting into more command line tooling. I really do, like Commander or something like that, because it's becoming obvious to me this day that I have not stayed up. No, it's LLC, which again I don't like the name of that. And then test. Successfully compiled. I should now have a test.exe there, so I'm going to say test.exe. 50, too low. 75, Too high. 53. You guessed my number. Okay, so that works. I'm going to want to just delete these two because I don't want them sticking around. I will put the gitignore file in there in a moment. Package. Why do I have a package there? It seems kind of weird. Probably it's like this is the thing that you distribute if you want it, but I don't want that there. So I'm going to have to, when I check this all in, I'm going to clean it up. Okay, and then the one thing I wanted to do, oh crap, I forgot. Let's see, LLC, test, okay, 53. Okay, no, this is what I wanted to do. I want to make sure that if I say debug, attached process, I thought there was a way to launch from a process. Okay, so now if I say F10, or if I say pause, there's one way to get it. There we go. Yeah, so now it has the code up here. And you can actually debug it, and you can say, so I can say, what's my guess? 50. Okay, I'll come back up here and say, start stepping through, and you can see down below in the locals that it's showing up there. Funny that the diagnostics don't show like memory. Maybe there's not enough memory. I mean, just look at this. GTFO. It's so funny. I don't know why. This just makes me laugh, but it does. You say 53. Come back here. Lesser. Nope, maybe. Yep, you guessed the number. Get out of the loop, and then you're done. Okay, thanks, bye. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we're good there. That all works. Now I want to get it into GitHub. And this is where I always screw up because I want to say, no, let's come in here. I want to get rid of these. I want to first, let's go to rocks. And I'm going to want to put an editor config in there right now, but for first, gitignore, and I want to build file in there as well. In fact, let me write some of these things down. Add editor config, add build, and build.sh. But those will come later because update to modern.csproj files, update to .NET 4.7 framework 4.7.2, get tests to run, start cleaning up code with better names, editor config. That can actually probably come somewhere up in there. Okay, so those are some of the things I want to do. Okay, so gitignore, we're going to put that in LOL code. And we want to get rid of this. I still have that somewhere else. I can always get that. Okay. And I need to go through all the directories and say, get rid of this. We do not want SVN anywhere. Backup, I don't need backup. Docs. I know I looked in this before and there was like this one thing about meeting to agenda. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that in there for now. We're eventually going to get rid of it. Why does SVN put all their crap? And we want to get rid of this package folder. I don't see why we need this in here. The bin folder, actually, let's just, we know it works. So let's get rid of the debug for now. And in fact, we can, let's close this. Let's get rid of bin and obj. Full test, that all looks good. Let's see, SVN, bin, and obj. Get rid of those. Parser. It's kind of weird. There's a 1.2 and a pass 1 in there. I'm gonna want to open. Well, let's just see. If I go to Cocoa, what in the hell is Cocoa? It's not even being referenced there. So I'd assume I don't need it. Unicode names? Okay, fine. Okay, so there. This is interesting. It is using 1.2 and pass 1. Huh. That seems odd. That's like, and why? And then properties, that's just that, but we need to get rid of that. Okay. We clean all those up. Clean that up. Okay. Okay. Come down here. Get rid of those. Why does it need this? And maybe that's just a utils test. Okay, I'm not going to question. Not going to question. Not going to question. Code provider. There's nothing in code provider, but we're not going to question. That comes later. Samples. Lots of samples. Hi world. Invalid. Don't know why that's there. Okay, so we got that all cleaned up. And then utils test. Oh, that's in the test. Okay, we gotta still do this. Delete all that. Properties should have that. Okay. So this should now be a valid. I want to make a new repository. Oh yeah, and I want to, good point. I want to, let's grab the readmes from, and then there's a license file. I think if I remember right, he said it was Apache. Yeah, it's Apache license. I don't know. This should just be the standard MIT, and then this should be and let's actually put the reference to this. Nick Johnson. Okay, and he does have a website. I'm going to do this. Okay. not making a mock. Give me permission. I do want to have the thing here where yeah. I want to make sure that I just want to have the right stuff up there to show that this is all good. Okay. So we got README and we got a license. Okay, now file, new repository. This is local path. No, no, no. See, I don't remember if I say, if I tell it the local path is this path, then I think it actually puts one underneath it. That's not what I want. Let's see if it's going to do the right thing. Yep, get. There we go. It does the right thing. Okay. So now does it, we don't need the upgrade log. I'm kind of curious what these are. Oh, those are just images. I'm going to keep them for now. They're small images, but that was just initial commit. Publish. Oh, it just commit to master. Oh, it's all the stuff that's in there. Well, let's just see then what goes there. lolcode.net, keep this code private. No. Organization, no. Publish. Now let's hop over to let's see what it did. Well, the readme's wrong. Okay. Close. What did I do wrong on the readme? Oh, come on. It's the other way around. You are a moron. Get that song out of your head now. I don't know if you could hear what I was whistling. I think it was the Bewitched theme. So then this. And then we do that. And then we do that. 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 And that. Okay. Now let's see. Did it? That looks better. That looks much better. All right. And look, right on time. Okay, so I'm going to do one more episode, just kind of put things down of what I want to change. You know what? Let's let this go a little bit longer. Okay, let's let this go a little bit longer because the thing is, I don't want to. I have something that works. It's good for a demo. I can start putting branches in to clean some of this stuff up, but I really, really don't want to change this too much. Because again, I got something to. I have to have something to show next week. I love doing this demo, but I do want to at least capture some things. So let's continue on. Initial cleanup. The first commit was to preserve as much as possible the original source code. That said, needs to be. Oh, and I also need to say, close that, close that, close that. A lot more tests. Whatever it was, that was not enough. Okay, so. Okay, so we're going to do. I want to put this in, but that's when update to .NET Core 3.0. We'll put a separate one in for that, and this one's also going to be a separate one. Well, it is L. No, I want to keep that. What I do want to do though is say L code. I don't like the .NET in there, though it does specify that it is .NET. Does it really make sense though to call it .NET in the projects? I don't think so. I think that's good for initial cleanup. Okay. I'm going to send it to myself. Labels, enhancement. Just keep it as an enhancement for now. Oh, don't. For a second, I thought it was going to milestones. We really don't have any milestones yet. For a second, I thought I was going to completely forget everything I had just done, and oh, that would have not been a good thing. All right, new issue. And I'm pretty sure I could just look at source code. Now the side note here is that once this happens, I mean, one of the things I want to do if I do Blazor talks or whatever is just to update, to create like a client version of LOL code that's all native, but runs in the browser. That that would be really, really fun. I want to do that with Iron Befunge too. I want to have a web client for that written all in Blazor. And I could do that right now, because it doesn't have compiler, it supports an interpreter, so that would actually work. All right, so I'm going to set myself, labels, enhancement, submit new issue. All right, we are good. I'm going to, as a final note, there we go. All right, this will be fun. I actually am going to enjoy updating this, changing some things, and again, again, giving this person credit for where credits is due. I always appreciate that. I mean, in an open source world, especially with fun projects like this, I think people are usually really good about letting other people steal, beg, borrow code, or however you want to say it. Just as long as you get some kind of nod of the head or tip of the hat, or however you want to say it, to let people know that they've done that. As a final example, I just want to show that in my Spackle library, I've done that too, and I think it's in, which one is it? Yeah, so this guy did some work where basically I did this, we can do this bind thing. So you can put a bind in a using scope and bind a value or a property or something like that to a new value. And then once you come out of the using scope, it resets the value to what it was. So it's really good if you're if you want to say, hey, within this block of code, I want this property to be this value. And then when I come out of it, just switch it back to what it was. I don't want to remember that. You do that for me. And so he created something to do that. And I said, this is awesome, because I had a way to do it before, but it was kind of messy, and this was much cleaner. And I said, do you mind if I put it in my library so long as I give you credit for it? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So, but I made sure, I always have that in my notes, and put that in there, because I think that's important. If somebody said, hey, do this, that's fine, but always give them the credit. So that's all I'm going to do in this episode. Fun stuff. I'm sure I'm going to start including this in future episodes on how to clean some of this stuff up. But for now, we're going to just let it rest, and this code will continue to live on in 2019 and beyond. So that's all I'm going to do for now. Leave any comments or questions below. See you in the next episode.